فرانسیس تاونزند، مشاور رئیس جمهور آمریکا 2008. کانون‌های شورشی دیوار اختناق را در ایران در هم می‌شکنند و هر ایرانی را ترغیب می‌کنند که هر کس سهم خود را در مبارزه ادا کند.
Good afternoon. Mrs. Rajavi, thank you so much for having me. It is a real honor to continue to be able to support the women of the resistance. Happy International Women's Day to everyone there and to those watching around the world, especially to our sisters in Iran. It really is a most incredible time to me. The women of the world lead the resistance for freedom everywhere we can imagine, whether it's Kurdish women, whether it's Ukrainian women in the fight against Russia right now, or it is in Iran, where they are in danger every single day simply for their beliefs. I continue to be humbled by the selfless dedication and courage of the women in Iran who fight every single day for choice, for freedom, or to overthrow the repressive, misogynist government that they must live under right now. Those courageous women are standing up in a myriad of ways against the misogynist regime. It's interesting to me on this International Women's Day, I think about the risks that Iranian women continue to take, the women of the resistance each day, whether it is in participating in the protests of the farmers in Isfahan, or it is the teachers' protests in over 100 cities. Each of these women taking risks for themselves, for their families. And despite all that, we see the ranks of the women in the resistance growing, continuing to grow, more women joining this fight every single day. These resistance units are breaking down the walls of repression in Iran and encouraging everyone in Iran to do their part. Just even if it is only to commit small acts of resistance, those small acts of resistance add up to crumble the walls of the misogynist regime. The miserable plight of women in Iran, however, has further motivated them to become more active. In some cases, many of you there and listening around the world, playing leading roles, and I am humbled to be with you. Although I am not there, you must know I continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with you in this fight, and will until the day we actually are able to meet for International Women's Day in Tehran. It is not at all surprising that the sharp edge of the regime's repressive and discriminatory policies are directed against women for their courage and for their willingness to speak out. I would also be remiss if I did not talk about the United States. We must acknowledge, we must see that the engagement of the United States with Ibrahim Raisi, who was responsible for so many crimes against humanity and for his role in the 1988 massacre of MEK supporters in prison, is offensive. We should not, and we must not engage with him in continuing nuclear talks. We can no longer sit idly by and see the disturbing, horrible images of women abused, shot, beaten in the streets of Iran and think that this is somehow a separate issue. We must have the courage of our convictions that until the women in Iran are treated equally, we will not tolerate and we will not engage that regime anymore. Mrs. Rajavi, I continue to be humbled by your courage and your strength and those of the women of the resistance. I wish you a happy International Women's Day, and I hope that we can be together next year. Thank you.